Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Clean Libertarian Podcast. And how are you doing out there? Hope everybody's had a great week. I know I have. Looks like we're getting those stimmy stems, right? That shit's hitting the bank accounts already. That's pretty cool, I guess. You know, collapsing the dollar. Who gives a shit? It's all going down. Dance in the flames. Go out and buy some cool shit. I bought a kayak. I bought a kayak with my stimulus money, and we'll likely throw the rest into some investments of some sort. But when and if the collapse happens, I'll at least have a watercraft available to me to get out in the boat and catch some dinner, right? But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. What else is going on? Looks like the family of George Floyd has settled out of court for like $27 million in that case. And that has brought up something that I kind of want to just take a little jab at and refute. You know, I've seen a lot of people saying, he didn't die because of knee his neck. He died from a fentanyl overdose. And I've got to tell you right now, guys, I've seen a lot of people overdose on opiates. And the last thing anyone is going to be able to do in that scenario is to be able to say that they can't breathe, shouting, screaming, fighting the cops. Yet that doesn't happen when you overdose, guys. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a medical examiner. I'm not a doctor. I'm just, an idiot with the podcast, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not buying that narrative for a second. And so, if we could stop saying that would be great, if nothing else, then so that the general public is educated on what an actual overdose looks like so they can be prepared for it. Instead of waiting for the dude to get up and start fighting everybody, they'll acknowledge that, oh my God, he's not out and he's overdosed. So anyway, with that, let me get into today's episode. So today I was able to sit down with the guy I met on Twitter. His name is Jake Howard. Jake is an awesome dude, man. He's a personal trainer. He has his own podcast, the Sober Swole podcast. And he's also in recovery, and he's all about that liberty life. So, I had to get him on. I asked him about what's up, have him tell us his story. And so this is just yet another story of hope. And I really enjoyed talking to him. I hope that you're able to kind of gather something out of this and get a little something out of his story just like I did. So without any further ado, here is Jake Howard. All right. And I am here with Jake Howard. Jake, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, brother. I'm just living it up. Got the kids finally done screaming for a little bit so we can get this done.
That is an art in and of itself, sir. I applaud you and the missus.
Oh, my wife is a wizard. I don't know how she does it. Dealing with me, first off, on top of, we have a 1.5-year-old and a month-old baby right now. So it's loud here.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot, sir.
Oh yeah. Well, I have 3 step kids too. 12, 10, and 7.
Woo. All right. Yeah, you're jamming out over there then.
Hell yeah. 3 dogs.
There you go. Hey man, that's the good stuff though. That's a good happy home. But Jake is somebody I met on Twitter. He also has the Sober Swole podcast. Jake, why don't you give a little intro on who you are in the Twitter sphere and your podcast and stuff?
Yeah, my personal pages. I'm Hake Joward on Twitter, Instagram, and Float. No Facebook. I got off that train, and it was the best thing for me, I think, mentally. I started the Sober Swole podcast with a guy who I've known over a decade. He actually used to be a barback bartender at one of the bars I used to frequent when I lived out in Arizona when I first got out of the Marine Corps. And he has his own ups and downs with sobriety as well. And we decided to get together and we started a podcast with our buddy Ryan producing it. And it's called the Sober Swole Podcast. And we talk about, our daily struggles as being dads, and I'm married, he's engaged, and he's also a father of teenage children. And we talk about, lifting weights and philosophies and generally whatever on our mind that day. We have a good time with it.
That's a good time, man. Absolutely. Also having somebody you got some history with that can I don't know, that's important, right? I mean, it's important for us. But
Well, yeah, it's pretty cool because we'd been fucked up together, and now we're actively doing our best to not be
it's a
together.
beautiful thing right there, man. I've got
Yeah.
some friends that are like that, Um, being in recovery, even you'll be sitting in a meeting. I mean, I know you didn't do the meeting things, but like for me, I did, and I'd be sitting in the meeting like, here comes my old dope man walking in the door, and it's like, oh shit, and it's like, yeah, he's like, don't you owe me money? I'm like, yeah, we can talk about it later. But no, we got to talking on Twitter. You were gracious enough to allow me to come on and rant for a little bit on your podcast, and I wanted to absolutely exchange that favor, and I want to hear about your story. So why don't you take us back? What does your story look like, Jake?
How back do you want to go?
Back as you want to go, brother.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Central Illinois, in a little town called Washington. In normal, lower middle class, suburban, middle of nowhere town in Illinois, and had a good upbringing, good Christian upbringing. My parents were youth pastors. My mom's dad's a preacher. My grandparents were in a traveling bluegrass gospel band. They haven't done too much traveling lately, but they used to all over. I always had the urge to leave. I wanted to get out of there. I knew there was so much more to the world. So actually, my dad for Christmas signed my Marine Corps enlistment papers for me. And so right after, it was like the week after I graduated, 2 weeks after I graduated high school, I was on my way to San Diego to go to Marine Corps recruit training. I did that, went to School of Infantry, which is at Camp Pendleton. And then they said, congratulations, infantry, rifleman guy. They all need you in 29 Palms, California. And in 29 Palms, California, it's a base out in the middle of the Mojave Desert. And it is a shithole. I'm sure they've made great improvements since I've been gone. Because, when people come back, they're always like, oh, we didn't have this when I was here, stuff like that. But it was a turd sandwich when I was there. And then, so basically all we had to do, because we were infantry guys, it was, you did war stuff for work. And then it was like, now what? You're all hyped up. Let's go blow off steam. And we all just go get real hammered, fucked up every chance we got.
Right.
And so I never did drugs growing up. I tried cocaine for the first time when I got back from Iraq the first time in 2007. Right? Yeah, 2007, 2008. Yeah. Well, anyway, so
one of them.
Yeah, dude. That was one of those things that there was actually a guy who ended up being a kingpin for a little bit, running coke in and out of the barracks, and I would partake every now and again. He got caught, obviously, with a cartoonish pile of cocaine on his kitchen table.
Not good. Not a good time.
Well, what's the old saying? You play stupid games, you earn stupid prizes, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I got into pills a little bit because there's guys having their surgeries and things every now and again, and I did hillbilly heroin with a guy who's from Arkansas originally. And for people that know what that is, it's where you crush up your oxys and then cook it into the liquid and shoot it up.
Yeah.
That was cool. But it wasn't something, that wasn't something I thought I would do. I could just do this, For the most part, I really stuck to just drinking. And my whole thing with drinking was I could never, I'm never just a have one and be done kind of guy. It's never my, I never said no to another. So that carried on. When I got out of the Marine Corps in 2010, May of 2010, I moved to Tempe, Arizona, which if you don't know where that's at, pardon me, that's where the Arizona State University is. And no one parties there. It's
pretty straight edge campus, is it?
yeah, obviously, just good Mormon kids that don't even drink soda. But no, so I mean, it was just another bunch of, it was three. I really wasn't sober. I stayed sober for 2 months just to prove to myself that I could do it
Yeah.
at one point. But other than that 2 months, it was basically 3 years of me just being fucked up every chance I could be. Like I hated being sober because I didn't know, I wasn't coping with getting out of the Marine Corps well. And I had a lot of, I call it entitled veteran syndrome. Because I don't know if you remember around that time, it was, everyone that was getting out, it was all the kids that joined because they saw, 9/11 happen. And then it was, thank me for my service. I'm going to ride this for the rest of my life kind of thing. There's people that I think a lot of the people from my generation are finally like realizing that was stupid. But I mean, obviously there's going to be a bunch of people that, will never get out of that habit, I suppose.
Right.
And I acknowledge it. I call it entitled veteran syndrome. It's just a sickness we all had, young and still dumb, not realizing how the real world works and knowing that no one actually gives a fuck what you did or
right.
where you were. So that took a bit to kind of swallow. I started doing a lot bit more coke when I was out there, just because I could. I gave that up pretty easy because I woke up one morning and I was like, I want cocaine for breakfast, and I was like, this is a problem. So
Yeah.
I cut that off right away. I haven't touched the stuff since, unless someone threw it at me during a blackout and I don't remember. But to my knowledge, I have not. That's been 9 years, around there. I don't. I was real messed up. I failed out of community college, and my mommy drove down from Illinois to save me, and drove her detoxing, angry, shit-wrecked drunk of a son back up to Illinois.
Moms are good at that,
Moms are, yeah.
She'll
She'll be here next month to help out around the house, which is pretty great.
Beautiful.
But so I went back up to Illinois and I was like, okay, you don't want to be here. At least try and get your life right. Nope. Every chance I got, I was still just as drunk. I got a job at the Kroger. I was the lead seafood clerk. So I cut and sold fish all day. My buddy Danny, who I knew from the Marines, who's also from a small town around there, was like, hey, I just got this job offer down here in South Texas working for this oil field company, and I know you want out, and you'll start off at $18 an hour. And I don't know if you know anything about Illinois, but the standard of living isn't that great. So here I was at this, I was a lead seafood clerk, but I was falling under this union rules. So I didn't have enough time in the union to be making money. So I was making like $8.50 to start off with an hour. And then my last paycheck was for like $10.05 or something like that an hour. This is 40 plus hours a week slanging fish. And I was telling him, I told him, I was like, hey, if you can work this to where you pay me, if you can pay me, I told him, if you can pay me $12 an hour, I'll stay. You won't have to train anybody else for this. I'll keep it up, and I'll keep my butt right here. You just got to pay me something to where it's worth it for me to be here. They said, can't do it. Union rules. And I said,
deuces.
So,
See ya.
Later. I'm basically getting offered to get paid double plus whatever the overtime is to go uh, learn how to build oil pads out in Texas. So I'm
Yeah.
out. I packed up everything I could into my 2000 Monte Carlo.
There you go.
Just,
Pimp ride.
oh, bro, the SS Sport, the pace car edition. So it had the
Yeah.
check down the side.
There you go.
Man, that
High
was
stepping.
my white trash gas wagon, you know.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so I moved down there, and it was easier for me to kind of stay sober because I was working too much to be drunk, and I knew if I would show up to work inebriated, I could get hurt or hurt somebody else. So that kind of helped me kind of start to wean off stuff. But man, when I was off, or when I had time off, I went just as hard as I did, forever. And it was just getting to the point where it's pathetic, man. I had woke up one day, and I actually looked at myself in the mirror, and I was just fat, round as I am tall, fat, over 315 pounds. I'm 5'8.5". So, I mean, I was gross, man. And, that was, here you are, you were a wrestler in high school, you were United States Marine infantryman, and look at you. You're not even in your 30s, and you're basically dead. And then I got laid off from that job just because it wasn't really managed well. On top of the price of oil per barrel was dropping, so they were cutting some loose ends. I spun into a really, really bad depression. At that point in time, the VA had me on 2 or 3 different pills for pain and mood stabilizing and other shit. So I decided to take them all, and then I bought a handle of that Bullet bourbon, and I just I'm gonna slam this, and I'm gonna drink all of it, and I'm gonna die as I live, just to live fast, die young, shit wrecked, drunk. They're just gonna find me, right?
Right.
Well, that isn't what happened. So my suicide attempt was terribly done. Basically, during this stupor, I had ran out of cigarettes, and there was a gas station within walking distance from my house. Like, if I stepped out of this house I was at, I could look down the street. So my incredibly intoxicated self decided it was a great idea to just walk to this 7-Eleven. For some reason, I dropped my phone outside and took off. And from what I can remember was I was trying to buy cigarettes, and then all of a sudden the sheriffs were there, and I thought I was getting kidnapped. I started swinging and flailing, and because they showed up in they weren't in like regular police officer uniforms. They were kind of in like the pilot flight suit looking kind of uniforms, the tan ones, kind of like the one piece that zip up, I think. And man, I just started freaking out, started yelling and screaming. They'd ask me questions, and I'd only answer, Corporal Jacob D. Howard, my social security number, and like, I thought and then like for somehow in my head, I convinced myself that I was getting kidnapped by the Iranians.
Okay.
So I was, and I just went back and I started screaming in Arabic and all kinds of stuff. And then they didn't put me in the actual holding cell. They put me outside of the holding cell and chained me to the chair and put the biter spitter bag over my head. And I broke a leg restraint. But
damn, look at that. King Kong type strength, man.
Back before I was lifting, but so that was kind of a wake up call. But they pulled me up. They said, "Here's the list of shit we can charge you with." And it was like assaulting an officer, destruction of public property, destruction of government property. They even threw like jaywalking in there, like public intoxication. And there, it was a list. And they said, but then the guy was like, "You don't have a record. Like this is your first time you've like ever been arrested, is what it looks like. Which it wasn't, but it's like if you pay, it was like $100 $125. You pay $125 right now. It's a misdemeanor that'll go on your record and it'll go away.
Yep.
And I went home. So that's my so that was my kind of that was my get out of jail free card kind of thing. But we that didn't stop me really either. I just I quit drinking brown liquors is what my decision was there.
I love the logic, man. I get it though. Right? I fucking understand that.
Yeah, it came in steps, and I had been trying to get back into the gym and get my stuff together, and I started working out more and eating better, and just figuring out that kind of lifestyle. Then I had a basset hound that I adopted. His name was Flash, and then he had a real bad tumor. There's a whole story behind that too, but he had a real bad tumor, and he bit it real bad and like lacerated it really, really bad and cut himself incredibly deep, and he almost bled out. So me and then my buddy Danny, whose garage I was living in at the time, so I was no longer living in that house anymore. I moved into my buddy Danny's garage in a little side room. But he stopped the bleeding and we're checking it out. And I went to go change the bandage, and he reached over to scratch it again, and he bled out all over the place. And so I took him to the vet, and I was like, "Here's what happened. Here's what he's itching at." And they're like, "The amount of blood he's lost and the incision we're gonna have to make to cut this tumor off, it's probably just better to put him down." So I was like, "Okay, I guess." So we put him down. Danny met me back at the house, and he was like, "I don't have any beers, but here, this is all I got. I'm, sorry, man." And I had a Not Your Father's root beer, half of a Not Your Father's root beer. And I was like, "This is fucking gross." And that was the last alcoholic beverage I ever had. And that was December 5th, 5 years ago. And I've been on the straight and narrow ever since. And be true to your own self, right? Like,
right.
I don't see any problem with an occasional edible every now and again for me. So, I mean, I've been sober off of my drugs that were messing my life up for altogether 5 years.
Congratulations, man. Thanks, 5 years is fucking huge, And here's the thing is that, whatever took you to your knees, finding freedom from that's what matters. You know what I mean? And so I'm not here to judge, at all. So you got 5 years sober in my mind.
Well, so I was just, I have to specify that because you know how it goes in the sobriety circles of things. It's, you aren't clean. You aren't pure. You aren't pure. Yeah. There's and I get why they're like that. I get why they do that because they're afraid, because a lot of people, I'm included. I fall in that bracket. Like I cannot partake in any fucking thing. I can't, it doesn't work out. I mean, I can, it just doesn't work out, ever. Yeah.
So
the tailspin.
Right. But it just a lot of people in the rooms are like that, but they have the inability to acknowledge that other people may not be that way. Right. So, but anyway, 5 years is huge. That's fucking amazing. Amazing is what that is. Do you ever have any kind of urges or temptations with it, or is it just kind of just something in the past?
All the time. But it's more of like a fleeting moment. Rather than something I fixate on now. It's do you know anything about the ancient Roman religion?
No. Lay it on me.
Okay. Well, so like their heaven was Elysium. And it was basically you were just on a chill, peaceful journey for the rest of eternity. Like you just kind of floated through. And it was if you ever ran into someone you knew, you're like, "Oh, I recognize you. Okay, whatever." And it didn't matter. He just floated, passing glimpses. And that's kind of how I see it now. It's, every once in a while I'm like, fuck, I could use a glass of scotch and a cigar. And then I'm like, never mind. And it's just, and I'm on. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how it is now. It's just I have to have some. It's real quick, but it's like, remember? I'm like, yeah. I'm on my way because
Yeah.
I mean, from like, let's call it 16 to 26, just 10 years.
Yeah.
I was running every chance I could, and this like, like, yeah, you've done some really cool things and been all over and seen and done stuff, but like the bad is far outweighs whatever cool and exciting things you did. On top of, I'm a 32-year-old grown man, married father. I'm not trying to scar my kids or give my kids a complex about, their fucked up dad or stepdad. And I
Right.
can't, that will not be on me,
Right. Well, that's a beautiful thing that you got that kind of insight, man. A lot of people go their whole fucking lives without having found that, and I'm in the same boat, those, and it's not always about, intoxicants. Like, another thing that I struggle with is the casino gambling. I live in
Mhm.
Oklahoma, man. We got that shit everywhere, so it's like, I mean, I'll pass one and then that thing jumps on me. And then if I just make it to the next mile marker, I'm okay. But, I got to just make it to that next mile marker. And that goes with anything.
My boy, Dylan, his name is Dylan Bob. He's a Choctaw, Chickasaw Native American. And so for a while, he was head of security of the night shift there at one of the casinos. So you may have run into him.
I guarantee you I did. He might have thrown my ass out for all I know. But well, that's a great story, man. And I want to couple that with, so where did you start to develop your libertarian leanings? Where did that occur for you in your journey?
Well, I grew up in generally a hardworking union or Democrats kind of family, right? And I had an obsession with a gentleman by the name of Bob Dole.
Yeah, Bob Dole. Bob Dole. I
So,
remember him.
well, while Bob Dole is not a libertarian icon, that even as a young kid, I was always kind of sought to see what else was out there and what would make more sense. I would classify myself as a Ron Paul libertarian, just because when he got up, and the last time that he was running for president, I didn't really pay attention too much to politics, but when he got up and was talking, I was like, this guy makes so much sense. Everything, like, this guy makes so much sense. And that's kind of what got me spinning into it. And I'm not like active within the party by any means. I just, try and live my life and tell people that the federal government's bad basically every day. So
Doing the Lord's work.
well, especially coming from, I did my time in one of the forever wars. And, now you've got kids that are 12 years younger than me going to places that I went to and doing the same shit I was doing. Like, why is that still happening?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. It was a story 3 or 4 years ago, but there was a father and son that were both in Afghanistan at the same time a couple years ago.
It's just insane. Yeah.
Like,
That's insane.
you
Absolutely crazy.
like he was like 4 or 5 when his dad went to Afghanistan the first time, and now they're both there together. Like, is this supposed to be heartwarming? Like, do you not see how disgusting that is?
Yeah.
So I've been diving more deep into things. I don't consider myself an economist by any means, but I think people need to be left alone to make their own mistakes. Private charity over big government makes way more sense. Putting people in cages for nonviolent crimes is just a scheme to make the state money.
Yeah.
There's I hate the TSA. To the point where I love flying on planes, but I won't go now.
I get it.
I
get it.
It has nothing to do with. It has nothing to do with disregarding other people's social standings or poverty or anything like that. Like, I'm not a rich man by any means. Everything I've got, I've earned, and my wife has earned, busting ass and getting out of dumb addictions, right?
Right.
But I'm not necessarily a hey, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps person either. That's where I'm a real firm believer in private charity. If you can reach out and help someone, reach out and help someone. If you have the means and you have the ability to, and it weighs on your heart enough, go do it. You shouldn't support a government program to do something that's weighing on your heart, Right.
At all, man. And here's the thing too, is that like that charity covers a lot of different aspects of life, right? It's not just the organization that came and, shot you an email or, put some spam in your mailbox. It's also the neighbor, it's also that person across town that you see standing on the corner. It's a whole number of different things. And man, I hear it at work today. And this happened on Friday, right? And they were talking about, right, I drive a concrete mixer, and right near our batch plant, there's a guy, he's always flying a sign. It's a big truck stop, that a lot of the highways intersect on in Oklahoma. So it gets a lot of like grifter types, but there's a guy flying a sign, and somebody at work is saying, oh, he makes more money than we do, I bet. And I'm like, nah, I don't think that he does. I really don't think that he does. And there's this kind of like idea that is formulated in people's minds, and non-libertarian types, that say, oh, well, our taxes cover enough to where they have resources available to them. My dollar in their little cup isn't going to matter, right? Yet we libertarians who, try to go out of our way and do things for, good things for people, we catch the blame for all the selfishness in the entire country. It sucks, but just like you and I were talking before the episode, man, the onus is on us to fix that, right? Like, it's up to us.
Yeah. I'm a pretty, like, I'm an asshole. And once you really get down deep to know me, I'm a ball buster, and it's what I do because it brings me joy. But I'd give you the shirt off my back. It just, and then I'd say, don't ever talk about it, but
don't you dare mention that again.
No, but you know what I mean? If I'm going to help you out, I don't want kudos. I just want you to get better, like, pay me back by getting your shit together. I love you,
Right.
That's as far as I want it to go. I see that more in the community than what is portrayed. We're just, my favorite is you guys are just Republicans that smoke weed.
God, I hate
that.
No. No, we're Democrats who hate taxes.
That's the argument. That's a good one. That's a great one.
But, no, like my central, I'm in Oklahoma. The central region covers Oklahoma City, which I live right next to there. We raised enough money to keep a halfway house open this last, winter. And like, I'll show that to people and like say, hey, look, like, no, that's not us. And then they go with the, oh, well, you're just, using them to improve your name. It's like, no, man, I give a fuck about recovery. I spearheaded this thing, like I wanted this house to stay open and it did, but so I don't know. It's frustrating, it is frustrating to catch that label.
It's just, I'm probably not the best person the best spokesperson, because when it gets down to it and they want to talk, numbers and statistics, I go, ugh.
Yeah.
But I am just a strong advocate for being self-sufficient. Like, there shouldn't be a need for a government program to help people out of homelessness or Social Security. That's like the biggest scam of all time is Social Security.
Yeah.
And
which you and I will never see a dime of, by the way, at all. We paid into it our whole lives, but.
Listen, I've been, I've done everything I can to, I squirrel away a little bit here and there. And in a E-Trade Roth IRA I started years and years ago in the hopes that it blows up and it'll take care of me when I'm old. I really don't want to rely on Big Daddy Fed for much. I do not have a problem with my VA disability payments because that was a part of my contract that I signed, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I'm technically 50% disabled through my hearing loss and my bone-on-bone contact in both my knees and head issues. But that was in my contract. Like, if this happens, you are entitled to. Like, okay, thanks. That's how I see that.
100%, man. Yeah.
But why is there a need to relicense a car every year? Or I think property taxes are hilarious to me. Yeah, you own this piece of land, but you're just renting it.
Yeah. Straight up, man.
So, I mean, like, even if you are a property owner, you're still just a renter. You can do whatever you want on this land once you get that permit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had a fire get too tall in my backyard above the 4-foot limit, 3-foot limit. And the sheriffs and the fire department ended up coming into my house to tell me that, well, we'll just let you know that, but just make sure you get a permit next time.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I'll jump right on that, chief.
Yeah. A permit for a high fire. Jesus Christ.
It didn't even reach it wasn't even like, it didn't even go over our big cinder brick wall.
Somebody snitched, bro.
No, there's a neighbor over there yelling at me, "Your backyard's on fire!" No,
yeah,
we're out here. I have the hose. Everything's under control. Ah! Ah! Hey, man, that's you're freaking out for no reason there, Chief.
Well, I want to dip back into something real quick and ask you.
Go ahead.
If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But I am curious. Would you say that your time in the military, and what you went through there caused your addiction to kind of take on a new form or pick up speed from where it once was? Or
I'd say it gave me more of an excuse, but I don't think I think I would have been in the same boat if I would have chose getting into a career or college right off the bat. I think I would have been in the same boat. Just because it's people pleasing and being the life of the party is part of my personality.
Yeah.
So I would have I would have found my way there or something worse. Just um, the only difference is because of my time in the Marine Corps is I was doing it with my brothers.
Right.
But no, I think I would have been in the same, if not worse, boat otherwise.
It's an interesting choice of words you use, the excuse right there. I identify with that, you know. I never served. I was never in the military. But I saw some shit, you know. I went through some shit living that lifestyle. And for the time I was like, I'm fucked up because of this. And it's like on the other side of it, I was like, no, you know, I was kind of using that as something to justify. Granted, it doesn't take away from what we went through, you know, at all. Trauma is trauma to any degree that you slice it. But, you know, the failure to have the coping mechanism to deal with the trauma is not an excuse to continue using that. And so you have some really great personal insight to be able to pick up on that. I applaud you, man. That's big league shit right there.
Dude, I've been sitting and thinking for a while. That's one of my favorite things to do is to just be in thought. Because I have ADHD, so my brain's running a mile a minute anyway. So why not try and figure something out?
Put that bitch to work. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, if you mean instead of just daydreaming about the backflips I've never done, you know, why not try and maybe defrag some of the incomplete files that are up there in the headspace and see what's going on.
See what's happening. Well, Jake, it's been awesome being able to hear your story, being able to talk to you, have you kind of break some of this stuff down. If you could tell that person who's listening to this, who's trying to find a way out of active addiction and alcoholism, one thing, what's that one piece of advice you'd give them?
It has to be 100% for you.
Explain that.
Well, just, you know, from bits and pieces from your story and things, and you know, from a lot of other people's, you know, you talk to, they always say something along the lines of, yeah, man, I was trying to get clean for my wife, or I was trying to get clean for my dad. I was trying to get clean for my kid. You know, I didn't want my dog to see me fucked up anymore. You know, like, just, you know, they're trying to put you're trying to put your recovery on somebody else. You at the end of the day got yourself into this mess. You at the end of the day are gonna have to get you out of this mess. Yeah, you're gonna have people that are gonna support you and help you along the way, but you have to remember that you did this to you, and you have to undo it for you. And it's gonna be something you're gonna be fighting probably forever. And it is what it is. That's not a message of negativity. It's a message of hope.
Right.
Because if you can tailspin yourself down to the bottom of the ocean, you can swim yourself back up to the top.
Right.
Get them feet kicking, Aquaman. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I've tried personally getting clean several times for other people. It never fucking worked, you know, because as soon as I saw the disappointment in their eyes, I'm like, well, fuck, now I can just, you know, I've already broke, you know, that bridge, you know, let's go ahead and go. Let's make it a thing. But whenever I made it about me, you know, it's a little bit different then, you know, there's more of an investment, right? So, awesome advice, awesome parting words. And before we wrap it up, why don't you go ahead and plug anything you got going on?
All right. Yeah. Well, I am the co-host of the Sober Swole podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Sober Swole Pod. We go live every Wednesday, or we try to go live every Wednesday on By Studios. So it's twitch.tv/By Studios. That's our producer studio that we work with. You can follow them also at By to By Studios on Instagram. Let's see. Me personally, I am a personal trainer and bodybuilding prep coach. If you just want to shoot the shit or talk about liberty or fitness and nutrition, hit me up. I'm at Hake Joward on Instagram, Twitter, and Float. If you would like to come on the show, send us an email. That's soberswolepod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, hear some episode suggestions. And yeah, that's all I got, brother.
Right on. Well, I'll be putting all that and then show notes. And folks, if you aren't already following Jake, you need to. He's been a constant source of humor and inspiration for me, and I enjoy seeing your updates. I'm down 20 pounds as of this morning, by the way.
Congratulations, dude. Good work.
Thanks, brother. Thank you. We're getting there. You see this big ass jug of water I'm trying to get done, but I appreciate the wholesome content and everything that you guys are doing over there. And furthermore, I appreciate you coming on and telling your story, brother. This is a good time.
Thank you for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And we'll have you on back again in the future at some point.
Yeah, man, hit me up. I'll go hide in a corner somewhere away from the kids, and we'll get it done.
All right, Jake. Well, you have a good one, brother.
You too, dude.
All right, there you go. Thanks again to Jake for coming on and telling us his story, and also for just having that sense of humor, man. I enjoyed talking to people that are lighthearted, and Jake definitely nails that. I wish I lived closer to him because, I'm doing that whole fitness thing. Like I said, I'm in the very beginning stages. Lay off me, guys. I've lost some weight. I'm down like 20 pounds now. This is 20 pounds as of this morning, as a matter of fact. So, I mean, that's a milestone for me. I'm happy about it, but, he does the bodybuilding thing and all of that, and it'd be cool to have him as a personal trainer. So if you need a personal trainer, if you need somebody to talk to about fitness stuff, or better yet, if you just want to talk about recovery, like that dude is way open. So cool. Very easy to talk to. Hit him up. I will have his information in the show notes on the episode and what have you. And also check out his podcast, the Sober Swole Podcast. So thanks again, Jake, for coming on, buddy. It was a good time. And we're just going to go right into the song of the day. As time goes along, you guys will notice how my musical taste and preference kind of changes with the seasons a little bit. And so I'm kind of in this like whole folk music thing going on right now, and I'm really digging it. And this is a guy named Willie T. Taylor. And the song is called Wrong Way to Run. And it's just a good song. Very lighthearted, very easy to listen to. And I hope you enjoy listening to it. Once again, thanks for tuning in. And I will leave you with Willie T. Taylor's Wrong Way to Run.
Some mountains in men are bigger than you think. Some rivers so fast, hell, you can't take a drink. Some burdens so heavy, you can't help but sink in that ocean with the chains on one too many link. I'm a laid back one, and I've been one so long. I ain't perfect, you can tell by my songs. Brothers, forgive me for all of my wrongs. The good Lord, He's calling, and it's time to go home. Say what you will and do what you must. That rain's coming soon, boys, gonna clear up this dust. And I ain't had a home in so very long, but I'm heading to the house, boys, I'll leave the light on. 'Cause I'm a laid back one, and I've been one so long. I ain't perfect, you can tell by my songs. Brothers, forgive me for all of my wrongs. The good Lord, He's calling, and it's time to go on home. I wore out my shoes in that wrong way to run. I blistered my skin working hard in the sun. Supper's almost over and I done cleaned my plate, and there's a light shining yonder, boys, I don't think I'll wait. I'm a laid back one and I've been one so long. I ain't perfect, you can tell by my songs. Brothers, forgive me for all of my wrongs. The good Lord, He's calling, and it's time to go home. I hear Him calling, and it's time to go home.